we are on fire. So I would say, yes, we have natural disasters, but we don't have the year after year, hit with the hurricanes, which means you're always going to be will it ever slow down is really the question as you go through.
2008, boom, came to a halt.
Yeah.
So I don't want to see those times again, but I think again, as we're in these crazy times, we get a lot of these unlicensed contractors coming in. They'll just put up a storefront and they're roofers. And so I give a lot of credit to our organization here in Florida saying, hey, we've got to kind of look at this from both ends, make sure that we still are giving a quality product, that you're licensed, that you're insured, consumer beware. Yeah. And that's a part of an education system as contractors we try to do, but we're really busy trying to get the materials, get the people, get the roof done.
Yeah.
And so organizations like FRSA, NRCA are great at helping us get that word out and lobbying, our legislators to say, hey, you got to put some rules in, because yes. Florida's like the Wild West sometimes.
Yeah. Well, and I am always so inspired by you and all the committees that you're on. You're on the NRCA board. You do so much on advocacy. And we're going to come back to that because I want to talk a little bit about what's happening there. But John, I would really like you to kind of come in on this labor shortage too. I know you're doing an amazing new estimating course. You're doing a lot of training on the consulting side, along with helping with employee handbooks and contracts. What are you seeing on that?
Yeah, we, really we're spending a lot of time on employee training and workforce recruitment, and training existing is a need for it, because you can't afford to lose somebody because they don't have a proper career path in the company, because once they're gone, they're gone. So that's the stuff we're working on. Estimating training is what we thought was a huge need in the industry. We just couldn't find it. I know, being in there as long as I've been, and I know when John was just here, we just partnered with the Edge to work with them to do estimating training for people coming to be trained to use the Edge, because their frustration was a lot of people didn't know the way to estimate, and it's hard to learn the system. Mm-hmm. So those are the things we're working on. Now, the labor problem, it's not going away, and we've been fighting this for many, many decades. So, you're below 20 entry level is pretty much gone in our industry. When you have Family Dollar, Family General, they're starting out at 18, Family Lead.
Yeah.
So everything's coming up. So I think robotics is going to play. You talk about technology. Robotics you're going to see in roofing big time in the next 5 to 10 years to try to augment the workforce. So I think it's coming. It's there. For example, England has a huge a robotics program for construction, and they've already projected that in 15 years, robotics will take over 20% to 40% of the industry.
Wow.
So It's coming.
It just seems to me that that's a little bit of what American innovation is about, right? There's a need, and someone's going to fill it. We don't know who that is, Tesla, whoever it may be, out there, but they're going to fill it, because especially on commercial roofs, there's a way to really make that easier, and it's easier on the employees also to be able to be at that point.
I just want to jump in on one thing on that. So that's why it's important. Like you thought, we're here with FRSA and all the organizations and all the roofing contractors. Don't let someone else come in and take over our industry. Stay involved, stay on top of technology, continue to, participate like everybody's here doing today, because we want to control our industry, and we need to. It's our industry, so let's get ahead of it.
Exactly. Get involved and stay involved. And Julie, you've seen that, right? Well, you and I were met at Pictometry, so we got our, with the technology. But what are you seeing on a labor front? I mean, and maybe more even on the sales side of things. Because with all the remote selling, everything's kind of changed.
Yeah, and to John's point, I'll just say when COVID hit and the pandemic happened, it was really interesting to see the acceleration of opportunities. So some of those forward-thinking, innovative contractors that were preparing for next year, the year after, seeing, hey, Amazon's out there, right? I can order something and get a package within an hour, right? Yeah. Roofing's going to be no different one day, right? We want to get ahead of the wave. So those firms were set up really successful to go to complete remote selling almost overnight. And then there was others that, we took a lot of time, advised to stand up. And now that we're coming out of it and all the points about labor and some of these struggles, it's again, where else can I drive more efficiency?
Yeah.
How else can I be more profitable on each project? Things I'm not thinking of or I didn't have to think of. And on the employee retention piece, right? I can go hire really forward-thinking, personable bartenders and they can use technology. They don't have to
Yeah.
measure a roof anymore,
Right,
right? So
right.
it's balancing some
Well,
of that challenges.
And maybe all of this is also helping to make everyone realize that 50% of the population are female and only 10% of roofing is female. So we have a lot of opportunity out there with the use of technology to help make all of that possible. I get excited about that.
No, me too. Every org I go into or the team goes into, it's like you spot the one female sales rep.
Yeah.
And then you ask the owner where she rank, and it's usually top 2. Seriously. Like,
Every time.
Every time.
That's just because we like to talk and sell, and this is the kind of stuff we like to do.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to kind of, Tammy, I want to kind of start with you on this one, but there's been a lot going on in Florida with government regulations and advocacy and some bills that have come out recently. I know how involved you are. What are some of the things that people should be aware of? Because if it happens here, it seems to spread.
Well, what happens, we're a strong conservative state. We've got a lot of criticism for the way we handled COVID, but we've kept Florida open. We've kept people in business. We've kept people working. And so I give a lot of credit to our governor. He's done a great job for us. I think people need to take responsibility for their own health and welfare, and that's part of it. He's not trying to micromanage someone's house.
Right.
So I give him credit for letting government do what government should be doing. On that front, though, we still have the storm chasers. We still have the insurance fraud that goes on. Citizens is overwhelmed right now because private insurers are dumping Florida insurers. They're not insuring them anymore.
Wow.
We had a rash, and I don't know if you saw this too with tile roofs, but I saw a rash about 6 months where 5-6 times a day I was getting a call. I need a roof inspection. My insurance company is going to dump my homeowner's insurance. My roof is only 12 years old. And they're saying I have a little bit of shingle decay or I have a couple cracked tiles. Can you come out and help me?
Wow.
And they're not offering them an alternative. They're just saying no because they know that roof, because of hurricanes, they know that roof could possibly be replaced. And then we had the whole challenge where they wanted to set up where you have a decreasing, in other words, if your roof is, it's like a depreciated roof. So you're not going to get full value. If your roof is only 2 years old, you get full value. But if your roof is 19 years old, we depreciate it. Maybe instead of a $40,000 roof, you're only going to get $5,000. So FRSA, they have a great lobbyist, Chris Dawson. They fought against that. I know Trent was involved with that, with Contney as well. So that was one thing we were able to deal with. And then you have, again, how do we avoid the storm tracers from falsely advertising? We can guarantee you a new roof. Sign over your insurance money, and we'll make sure you get it. Well, a $40,000 roof now just became a $200,000 roof.
Wow.
And I have to say, private insurers, do your homework.
Yeah.
Don't put that on the consumer, and don't let someone who's offering to do that for them hoodwink you into overpaying so much. So I don't, and that's the challenge that we're having in Florida. Maybe you can talk a little bit more to the tile, but we're seeing it's really sad.
Yeah.
And now that legislation was signed where they can't go door to door, they can't do the robocalls, they can't put the door hangers on, but now that's being pushed back.
It's being
pushed back right now. It's been challenged. It's been overturned to some degree, but we'll see what happens.
Wow. Jeff?
I deal with lawyers and insurance adjusters and all day long. And look, I've actually had some guys that have suggested, hey, this is an $80,000 roof. We understand you have the tile to do this little repair. We'd like to buy all the tile from you. And I've turned them down. I'm like, I'm sorry, no. We try to support. Man, we have a passion for tile, and we're trying to do what's right. And I just have a moral passion in life, to try to do what's right. And I don't know, I guess my dad raised me right. But, we try, if you need a roof, you need a roof.
Right.
But if you have 10 tiles that are broken and somebody comes in and says that they're going to, if you sign over or you sign with us, we'll take care of everything. You don't have to pay no down payment. We'll get you a brand new roof. It's a $40,000 roof, and they're trying to charge $80,000 to the insurance company. It's just not right. And we get, well, originally we would get lawyers that would call us saying, according to the Florida Builders Code, that tile has to be dropped off in the manufacturer's pallet with it shrink wrapped with the manufacturer's name on it. And we're like, no, what it says is you have to have documentation saying who made the tile and that the tile was product approved. This is, and also if you look at the product, now I don't know what the code number is, but if you look at the page that they're talking about is for re-roof new construction, not repair work. So normally when they start showing me, they give me build, and then I just throw one back at them and say, here you go. How about Florida statute, blah blah blah. And now we can,
Blah, 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 statute.
yeah. Well, I can't remember. I can't remember. It's 55. Yeah. I have a list of them. I can't remember them. I've had Alzheimer's disease. But normally, if they want to play ping pong with regulations, when they throw one at me, I throw one back at them. Let them research it for a while. But we try to educate. Unfortunately, when someone calls me, within about 10 or 15 seconds, I can tell whether they're trying to get the roof repaired or they're trying to get me to say we don't have the tile, it's discontinued, so that they can justify a whole re-roof.
Yeah.
And if I have the tile, I have the tile. If I don't have the tile, I don't have the tile. There's no two ways about it.
And Jeff, I want everybody out there who's watching this to know, okay, so one of the coolest things about All Points Tile is their boneyard. They have this, you can go online. I really recommend it. I love just go look because I think it's so cool. You have so many, this boneyard of tiles that it's just so expansive.
Yeah, and we're willing to sell them all.
It's pretty fun seeing it, I have to tell you. So, John, what are you seeing are you a lobbyist? I know Trent's a lobbyist.
Yes, I'm a lobbyist. So
Yes.
I'm a lobbyist here in Florida, and I also work with our national up in Washington as well. But yeah, here in Florida, Tammy's correct. So the bill went through. We helped work on that on the side. I met with a couple of the senators myself, trying to give them the roofer's perspective to why these things can't go through the way they are. You are correct. There is pushback, and it's going to be hard to really push this back to where it was intended to be because it's going to fall under freedom of speech. And that's where the stormers are chasing it, because you can't stop them from advertising if they're doing it the way the code says with licenses and so on. So it's going to be somewhere in the middle is where it's going to end up. But it wasn't a victory for either side. So when I say that, it means it was good. This could have been a lot worse for the contractor than it did turn out. So it actually worked to somewhere near the middle for now. So we have to watch it and keep on it and see where it goes.
Yeah. Wow, there is a lot going out there. And I mean, when you're looking kind of even at the overall of nationally and all the changes that are going on there with sustainability and the green and new regulations that may not be good or may, who knows? What are you seeing on that front?
Well, everybody, we're pretty much, this post-pandemic world has stalled a lot of things. So some things really in the last session here in Florida went through. A lot of things got delayed, which was good. A lot of things should have never made the table, so that did happen. I think going forward, that doesn't necessarily mean we won't see them again. They're coming back. So that's why now is the time to continue to be active. And you're professional roofing contractor here in the state of Florida, you got to speak up. If you don't speak up, things will move in the opposite direction you want. You've got to continue to work with organizations, get involved in organizations such as FRSA, and you got to be active and you got to keep your voice going. That's why they fight for the industry, but they can't fight if we're not involved.
And let's talk about West Coast RCA, right? You've been president for how long of the West Coast?
I've been president 11 years.
11
years now.
So
we're out of the Tampa Bay area. We're affiliate of FRSA.
Yeah.
I've been on the board for 20 years, so it's a great affiliate. We love, continuing to work on it, and there's always things to do. And again, we hear more on a local level. So FRSA represents the state, The local affiliates, what they do is they work within their areas with the local roofers to get all of this up and out. And then we go and represent on like the affiliate council or different committees here at FRSA and get the voices heard.
Well, and for everyone out there who maybe isn't from Florida, so you can understand, Florida has one of the, as we've heard, most amazing associations with the Florida Roofing and Sheet Metal Association. And then there's affiliates across the state. And Tammy, you've been involved, right?
Yeah, we have the Southwest Florida Roofing Contractors. I'm the perpetual volunteer, so I handle all the admin and all of that, all of those items. But to John's point, we're working really hard with Chris Dawson to create a roofing day for Florida.
Awesome.
So that, and I think the education that's come through FRSA and through NRCA really brings it home to how important your voice is, and the one voice effort that's happening on a national and local level. These are important things to our industry if we're going to survive the challenges we get faced with, whether it's a pandemic, whether it's materials or all the other things.
Yeah. Okay, so along that lines, I think and this is one of our next questions, and I do want to say, I know Megan, and I forgot to say, Megan Ellsworth and Colin Sheehan are producing this podcast and are in the background, and they're chatting you up out there. So if you guys have questions, please go to the control panel and ask any questions. But one of the questions that came in earlier is really talking about this post-COVID, which I guess it's not that post anymore now with Delta, but what's happening. And so, Julie, I kind of wanted to just start with you on this one on, what are you hearing as people are transitioning out of COVID, vaccines? What are you hearing from the contractors out there, and how are they kind of dealing with doing things different?
Yeah, well, as you can imagine, it depends on what state they're in, what coast they're on, and what their perspective is, which was very similar to during the pandemic. We'd have reps in the Northeast, and it was a totally different experience than people down south, for example.
Yeah.
But yeah, the good news is I don't think it's slowing them down. I think really the challenges we talked about with like material shortage and labor shortage and where we're at as a business and industry from all from distribution manufacturer to the contractor is really still the biggest challenge, and what people are trying to be opportunistic about, and what could I put in place? What have I learned from this? I mean, including our company, right? I'm sure you all can agree.
Yeah,
we found efficiencies where we're going to continue to do in post-pandemic, right? That we're going to be more efficient. We wouldn't even look at some of these things. So,
and John, what are you seeing? I mean, I just think I've just talked about the vaccines and how it's handling it. We have some major manufacturers who are not here at the show because they're still on travel. People can't travel from internationally, but we also have a huge number of people here too. So from the Cottney side of it, what are you kind of seeing on that?
Well, again, we're similar. We work with companies here, Canada as well, so we get both sides. And I think the most important thing for everyone to understand is there was a world prior to COVID. We're never going to go back to that world, okay? And I don't mean that it's all about COVID. It's not. The way we did things, the way we used to operate, the way we went and did business, it's different. We've got changes that have come from it. And even when this finally goes away, I don't think we're going to come to a point anymore. I think everybody's in the reality that it is not going to stop. Like we were going to hit August and it was going to go away. At one form or another, we're going to be dealing with this for a long time. And there's probably something behind it and then something behind that. But that being said, I do agree, and that's what we're seeing. Be efficient. You got to look for your efficiencies. You always have to plan. I preach with all my contractors that I work with is plan A's are the best. You better have a solid plan B, and most people you need a C. Because once B becomes your main plan, you need to have something to fall on. So plan. That's what you need to do.
Yes, I can't agree with the planning out there, but I really agree. I mean, that's one of the reasons why we're doing this coffee conversation here today. We're bringing the FRSA out to the industry. We want to bring this show because not everybody can travel, and it's not even a great idea for everyone to travel. So in this new world, as we look at some of these hybrid solutions and using technology, we are able now to be able to share a lot of this with the industry. And I know I've been on so many calls with you, Tammy, and I've seen all of you, you know, on screen, on the Zoom, on everything. But what are you on? Speaking to that, with having the plans and where you're going with your employees, how is that working for you in this post-COVID?
It's been really interesting in the office. We have 265 employees, and we have about 60 employees that are literally office, between estimators, admin, project managers, etc. And we have a lot of young people, and then a lot of, you know, people that are ranging into their 60s. And we are finding a real quagmire of, some people think vaccination's the greatest thing since sliced bread. We, you know, obviously aren't requiring that. And then some of our young people are like, no, I'm healthy, I'm strong, I don't think I need it. And then we just had a turnaround where someone who was so anti-vaccinated saw someone get sick and like, you know, I'm going to go do it. And they went and got vaccinated. We're asking everyone to you know, be healthy and be safe. If you're not vaccinated, maintain your mask wearing. We still have a lot of protocols at our office about keeping things clean. We used to have a great, you know, lunches and a big open salad bar every Wednesday. We don't do any of those items. Our dishwashers are what we wash our dishes with rather than the sink. So, you know, again, you have to take precautions. Like John said, it's not going to go away. And everyone's so clean right now, so I love it. You know, it's a good thing. But when you go to travel, you know, there is nothing worse than sitting on a plane for 6 hours with a mask on.
I know.
Yeah, I get very claustrophobic, and it's like, you know, so I'm one of those people who travels. If I'm vaccinated, I really have to wear this mask.
Yeah.
And, you know, if it can be private, it doesn't have to be public, you know, or I guess you would notice if you weren't. But I'm over the mask, and I understand the importance of it. In our office, we ask everyone to do the honor system. And so a lot of our people do. Our crews are very good about keeping their masks on because they're in their close proximity to each other. We still disinfect our vehicles and things like that. So I don't know if that changes. I don't know if we get to the point where we say, oh, we don't have to do this anymore, or if it just becomes our routine.
Yeah, you know, and the other thing I was thinking about as we were traveling from Oregon to the great state of Florida is, okay, I've been kind of hidden away for the last 18 months. What else is out there besides COVID? Oh no, the flu again, you know, a common cold.
You can still get regular sick.
Yeah,
I got regular sick.
Yeah. So I'm kind of like, yeah, let's kind of keep up this little.
Yeah. My doctor teased me. I got regular sick. I immediately got a rapid test. It was negative. And I'm looking at my doctor, I'm like, well, what's wrong with me? He goes, just the regular cold, Tammy. Yeah. That still occurs. I'm like, oh, okay. But, you know, I was like panicking, like, how can I get COVID again? I've already had it. You know, I'm vaccinated. Oh my gosh. He goes, you just got a bad cold.
We've just all not been that sick for the last little bit. So the ones who haven't had it. Jeff, what are you seeing across with the contractors and distribution on dealing with COVID?
Well, personally, we've reorganized some of the way we do stuff. We don't have clients come inside anymore. We took them, put in a sliding glass window, and so fortunately we have a lanai or whatever you want to call it, so they can come up to the window. We do everything through the window, and it's a lot safer, I think. We have some older people that work in our facility, and we don't want them to be exposed. Now, they've all had the COVID, their vaccinations now, but in the early days, I mean, it was just really hard on them, just the thought of it.
Yeah.
Now, I find myself just distancing myself just a little. Now it's almost become second nature to me. You know, I've got a 6 foot. You know, I don't get up on top of anybody, and hey, you know, you're right in their face. I'm usually just subconsciously doing a 6 foot distance between people, and I do a lot more fist bumps and stuff like that. Now, the contractors that are coming in to purchase from us, it's probably 50-50 on whether some of them are still wearing masks, some of them are not wearing masks. My personal preference or belief is just get the vaccination. I mean, just get the vaccination. I mean, it's like, why, if you're bleeding, why not put a Band-Aid on it? You know, you're just going to let it scab over. Okay.
Maybe. Jeff, I love it. I love the fact, you know, I love that. That is awesome. Okay, So I want to make sure okay, let's talk, and maybe this is a little bit scary, but we want to talk about and I know we've talked about this a lot, but the hurricane season. How does that, I mean, for all of the people watching this who are not from Florida or supremely, East Coast, Carolinas and such, what are you doing now as companies to kind of prepare for that? Or is it just so normal that you don't, it's just like, oh, when it hits, it hits. Maybe we'll start with you, Tammy.
Well, because I oversee our service division, we're usually the first to deploy when something's coming and get houses ready. So we try all year round to educate and remind people rainy season, hurricane season's coming. Are your windows checked? Are your roofs checked? Do you have, your trees trimmed, things like that. And then we start stocking up on tarps and things like that, like in March, because we know if we wait till July, they're not around. And then, of course, our ops division steals them. But having said that, but no, we really try to put what we need. We don't use a lot of EPDM in Florida, but I got given pallets of it. So I might use that for drying instead of 30-pound because I can use it and I don't need it and it was free. So we try to have a little stock of how we triage houses when a storm comes, and then normal repairs. We have not seen our material shortage in the repair side of things has not been as drastic as on the operation side.
Yeah.
So again, it's about education, and Floridians pretty much know that. I hate to say our newcomers, they learn quickly.
Yeah.
But don't be a hoarder, and that's why I think what the material and manufacturers are saying. Don't hoard your materials. If we all pace ourselves, we should all get through this.
It should be okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Preparing for contractors to get ready for those storms, to get ready for handling the onslaught.
So this year will be a little bit different because, as Tammy said, we always wanted to be prepared on the contracting side to be able to get materials. So probably that's not going to be a great option this year if a major storm does hit. But definitely when you're a Floridian, and I wasn't born in Florida, but I've been here long enough now, it's not dramatized here the way it is when you see it from outside nation, okay?
Yes.
So if we get a, category 1, we're all free down, know what it's about, and we prepare for it.
Yeah.
Roofing contractors are no different than any other emergency prepared system. They are prepared. The organizations all work together. We have our hotlines. We know what we can do. And we just, when you get down to that last 24 to 48 hours, by then, you're pretty much, you can do all you can do. You got to wait the storm out and then go out and do the emergency repairs and send your crews out. But one good thing has happened over the past 20 years. Florida building codes have gotten better and better and better. So there's not that there can't be, but it's not as much damage after every storm as there would have been if these codes didn't keep coming up. So we're getting better and better at our roof surviving through Cat 1s, Cat 2s, where, and up. Once you get above that, you can have Cat 4 and above, it's pretty much all games off at that point.
Yeah.
Because you got too much debris blowing around, and usually there's other failures besides the roof.
Wow. And so, Julie, I know with Hover, you do some amazing, when you think about what the contractors are doing with kind of going out ahead of time, documenting, having the services done, being able to have all the measurements and stuff. What are you seeing with storm response? And not just in the Florida, but I mean, it's kind of all over right now. Everywhere is having huge natural disasters.
Yeah, I mean, we're in a really good position though, because at this time last year, there was 11 major events, right? Mm-hmm. So if anything, we're fully staffed, geared up. We've put special programs in place due to all the challenges contractors are facing. So we've launched in the last couple months even very specific restoration feature sets, like inspection checklist and things that'll help the contractor, again, back to this whole efficiency and expediency. And even our programs, like how people do business with us. We have restoration specific programs. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we're turning around right now average jobs in under an hour. Wow. So we're hoping, and we're on track because we haven't, again, had any major categories.
Yeah.
And just working with the contractors. Mm-hmm. A lot of these guys across the country are gearing up. They're hiring more people. They're trying to find good quality staff like we talked about. So we're leveraging the technology to bring in the talent and help accelerate some of those ramps.
Yeah, and get more in. Yeah. Jeff?
we have a certain amount of space, and in a certain amount of space, we can put so many tiles. Now, because we do a lot of discontinued tiles, I'm really dependent on working with individual roofers who are tearing tiles off so that I can reclaim them and put them in my system. Now, when there's a hurricane, most people that come to me originally after the hurricane, I tell them, just get your stuff dried in. Don't worry about replacing the 10 tiles. Don't, because we'll have them lined up, and it becomes a madhouse. And it's just like, I understand that you need to fix your roof. Just dry it in, because they can do that quickly and efficiently, and then we can worry about doing the repair down the road. And then my biggest problem after a hurricane is the people that come in out of state, or the person that has a hammer and a ladder, and all of a sudden he's a roofing professional. We look. I don't want to. Wow. Okay. We don't sell to unlicensed contractors. I'm not the roofing police. If a guy comes in and buys tile and he looks like he's a legitimate dealer, we sell him tile. But if a guy comes in and goes, I'm a handyman, I'm sorry, sir, we don't sell to unlicensed contractors. Because the last thing I want is this handyman to go to somebody, my next door neighbor, and screw their roof up. That's going to cost 3 times the amount of price to have someone come in and fix it, because first they have to undo the mess up.
Yeah.
We always advocate, get a licensed contractor, We try to educate the homeowner on the handyman. Yeah, he might do it for $300 or $400. It's not going to leak for 4 or 5 weeks. You're going to spend $3,000 to get it fixed. Do it right the first time.
And that's why the associations are so important. That is what's driving the quality of the Florida roofing contractors and working together.
So Heidi, I just want to throw this out there to anybody that's listening. If you're in Florida, or if you're not, but I don't know why you'd want if you weren't, if they reach out to you or they can contact us, I'll be happy. I have a great hurricane protection guide put together for contractors and their job sites. It takes you from about 5 days out to what steps you need to do and where the warnings are. I'm happy to provide that for free.
Oh, good. We'll get that on the
Anybody
site.
reaches
we'll
out, I'll
have
give it
that.
to
The
them.
hurricane. Okay. The one thing, so we're getting close to the end of our hour. And so, first of all, I want to say thank you. This has been so much fun. You guys are amazing and so great. But I just want to kind of take a peek into the future. So we've talked about this a little bit, but like in the next 18 months, let's say 18 months to 2 years, what are you seeing coming down, happening, or that, and I know we've talked a lot about being prepared and really understand that, but kind of looking at what should contractors really be thinking about in preparing, because there's so many things out there and they're going to need to be thinking about technology and all these different things. So I'm going to start with you, Jeff.
Well, my company personally, we're looking at opening another location down in the Tampa area so that we can better service Naples and the south. Yeah, we love Naples. But I mean, if you're a contractor, one of the biggest problems that I've seen in Florida, especially after Charlie, and is that all of a sudden it's like you're on the gravy train and you go from being a somewhat small company to if customers are begging you to come do the work, and so they go out and they get 5-6 trucks under lease. They go to Home Depot or wherever and they buy 10 dozen ladders, and all this stuff is on some credit card, and the gravy train only lasts so long. Pace yourself, live within your means as a contractor, get educated. God, I love good roofers. I hate whenever a guy comes in. Matter of fact, there's a guy in not Tampa, but Jacksonville. His answering machine said, "You're talking to the greatest roofer in Florida." And then when I talked to him, he didn't know what tile he wanted. You're the greatest roofer in Florida, and you don't know what the tile is you want? You educate yourself.
And there you have it.
It's perfect. It's perfect. love it. Go ahead, Tammy.
I think the best advice that we could give anyone in any business is, have a great attorney and have a great CPA. It's going to be a numbers game for us in business. If you're in business and you've been in business for more than 10 years, you already know that. If you are small and you're operating on a day-to-day basis, you're going to really have to watch your bottom line, your margins. You want to make sure that with these cost increases, labor increases, insurance increases, are you really making money? Just because you may have seen 2 million come through your books doesn't mean you made 2 million. And I'm finding working with the association, a lot of these smaller contractors don't quite understand that because it hasn't caught up to them. So they're running money through their books, but they're not seeing it. So I would say really start whittling down on understanding what a margin is, understanding what your costs are, and then what your income is, and are you charging enough? Be competitive. We don't want to be the least expensive. We don't want to be the most expensive. We want to have a good business plan. So everyone's going to be a little different, but it boils down to numbers.
Yeah, I agree. And with both of what you're saying, because we don't know what's going to happen. And I don't think it's going to be 2008, but we just don't know. And so knowing where you're at is really important. And John, you're seeing this every day as you're doing consulting for contractors across the country.
Yeah, definitely. So it's a changing environment out there. And, you now have remote workers and admin that you're not used to. You have, there's estimators that are available throughout the country. What I mean is now we're in a new blend. So you need to keep up with technology. You need to learn your business, as has been said before. And most importantly, you have to be on the forefront. Things are changed. It's never going back to the way it was. I know when I first started roofing, I loved hot asphalt, and I even worked in coal tar pitch, and there wasn't single ply, and we were really, really good at it. But we also knew we had to change because that was not the future. This is kind of the same thing, but not so much in the systems end, but it is in how you go to business.
Yeah.
It's a new world. AI is going to be big, and drone technology is going to be big. You need to embrace it. You need to learn how to use it.
And I agree. And so, Julie, give us the insight that you see coming up in 18 months, and then we do have a question that came in, so I want to ask that real quick before we get to the end of our hour.
Yeah, no, Heidi, I'd love to. I mean, from my perspective, it's just there's going to be more digitization, right? I think what Tammy hit on was spot on. Know your numbers, know how you got there. What's the numerical impact if I adopt this technology versus that technology? Work upstream, right? We hear all the time, even lead efficiency. So I think what's is going to continue to happen is, contractors are going to start to stand up, even small, go from, 3 million to 20 million, right? Because they're adopting and they're agile and they're embracing change management, right? So I think it's just people got to be ready. They got to be looking at what's going on, and they have to be providing alternative paths to purchase for the consumer. It's not always going to be what it's always been. And they're going to lose out, and it's going to be too late if they don't take action and start implementing some of these things today. Don't change your whole business, but start to bring in some of these best practices, if you will.
I agree. And you got to be adopting and diversifying. So we have a question that says, I'm happy to be able to experience FRSA from all the way out here in Denver. Thank you.
Hi, Denver.
Did you have any hesitations coming back to trade shows? How does it feel to be back? Great ending question. Thank you so much. So, Julie, we're going to work this way over to Jeff. How did you feel about coming back?
It feels amazing, and that's an excellent question. No, just to be able to connect with people you haven't seen in over 2 years almost. It feels great. The energy, even on the floor, is unbelievable. So, so grateful to be back. It's been great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I agree. Same way. We are in a digital world. It's going to stay here, but to be able to get back in a live world, to see people, hear what they've been going through, what they've done, and I did not have any hesitations. As they said, I am vaccinated as well, and that may be the reason why, but I absolutely had zero hesitations to come out here and be in the crowd this week.
That's awesome. Tammy?
I'm excited to travel again and see everyone. I got a little zoomed out with all the electronic meetings, but they were efficient. But it's brilliant to be able to see everybody. The energy that you have in a room with the physical people is so much different than you have it on Zoom. The opportunity to exchange ideas and network, you walk away just feeling excited versus, oh my God, I'm so glad that meeting's over. But you've been looking at a screen for 2 hours. So you walk out just like ready to go back to your office and get it done. So I'm excited to be back in person. So please, everyone, be safe. Come out. If you're not comfortable, keep your 6 foot like you're doing. Wear your mask, but enjoy.
Yeah. Jeff?
I'm ecstatic about this. I mean, Jesus, it's like the first time you get to go out to a restaurant, it was just like, oh my God, I can't believe it. So this is, and it's a big crowd, and it's an enthusiastic crowd. I mean, that's what makes it worthwhile, is to come here and to be able to just interact with people and talk to people. And there's an energy and a buzz. There's nothing worse than it being a dead room. But you can tell people were very excited to be here, and I'm very excited to communicate with them. I mean, with the way the news has been in the last couple of days, you'd be lying if you didn't say you took 10 seconds to say, Yeah. But I think it's, everything in life's a risk. It's just everything in life's a risk. Yeah. I'm willing to take the risk.
Well, I have to tell you, I'm thrilled to be back. I missed everybody out here, and I've missed, even though we've seen all the Zooms. And I do want to say, too, that the crowds are great. You can maybe hear it a little bit behind us, people walking by and watching this great panel talk. But people are here, and they're out. And so we are just proud, very proud, to be bringing you all this information. And as you saw, I just went through some slides with our panelists. Thank you all so much. Thank you for doing the first one with us.
I'm happy to be here.
And we got through all of our questions. I do think so. So let's talk a little bit about what's next. So tomorrow we have Coffee Conversations, again, 1:00 p.m. Eastern, and we are going to have Kim Simone of Reliant Roofing and Ken Kelly of Kelly Roofing are going to be here, and they're going to be talking about what's happening, and they have a lot that's happening out there, and also technology, a lot of the same questions. We're just going to hear from them on all of the information. So if you have questions, be sure to sign up and be sure to be a part of it. Then we're taking this road show and we're going to Las Vegas. So we will be in Las Vegas at the IRE, and it's going to be live just like this again. And we have some great guests. In fact, Trent will be there on the first day. We are going to be speaking there, and that is being sponsored by ABC Supply. So it's going to be great, and we are very, very excited. Thank you for your questions today. Thank you for being a part of this. And as always, you can find all of our coffee conversations, which many of these folks have been involved in the past, on riverscoffeeshop.com under Read, Listen, Watch Initiative. We appreciate your time. We love having you here, and we'll look forward to talking to you again tomorrow. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks. Clear?